Hi everybody, I'm Bruce Glenn, and today our special guest is Julie Maupin. She's a real estate professional with RE/MAX and also has done some real estate work for me on a personal level, buying homes and selling homes and some rental properties and things like that.
Yes.
Anyway, we're going to go through and kind of get an update on what's going on in the real estate world and some things about Julie. So welcome, Julie. We're glad to have you. Why did you get into real estate?
Well, I got into real estate. I will make it brief, but it was a long story. I was at a large corporation for almost 20 years and just went through the growth process of being sales, a trainer, account manager. And then my last position there, I was management. I was managing a relationship with our third-party vendor out of Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay.
And I didn't have that love for my job. And my daughter at the time was 12, and she picked up on that.
Mm-hmm.
And being a working mom of 3 kiddos, and my husband also works, I thought, I need to lead by example, and life's way too short. So at 40, I made a switch and kind of did some soul searching and a lot of networking, and decided that real estate would be a way of helping people one-on-one, because when I was managing the relationship, I missed that one-on-one, seeing me affect somebody from the beginning and see the end process. So that's right up my alley. I love to work with people. It's never, no transaction is ever the same.
Never boring.
Never boring, and you're always learning and evolving, and so it's perfect. It's good.
So second career, but a very successful first career with a large corporation here in the Kansas City area. How long have you been in real estate altogether now?
I entered in 2018, so this is my 4th full year.
Okay, super.
In October.
Right. We want to kind of share some things that you do for your clients and folks you're working with that maybe people aren't getting from the average, real estate agent.
Right. Very good question. So a lot of realtors, it's all about your why. And I am, I'm very relational. So I'm not just a transaction person, salesperson.
Right.
I get to know my clients, and I don't buy any lists. I don't subscribe to Zillow leads. I work by referral. And so networking is huge. That's how we got all of our transactions.
Right. Yep.
And I always like to be the source of the source. So especially being part of IBE, if you need an accountant, need a good lender, need an insurance person, doctors, I've lived in the Kansas City area over 20 years. I live in Liberty, but I'm also licensed in Kansas and in Missouri. So I just think networking is a huge part of building my brand.
Right.
And RE/MAX is the number one recognized brand in real estate, and so they're worldwide. So anytime, and within that brand, I network with other RE/MAX. So if you knew somebody moving to Des Moines, I have a person in Des Moines, or Arizona, Texas.
Right.
So that's another way. But I'm very relational. It's just me. So a lot of the bigger teams have a team lead, and then. So once you make that initial contact, then you would be handed off to another person. But it's only me. I do have a transaction coordinator that helps with my paperwork.
Right now, we've been experiencing several rate hikes by the Federal Reserve in their attempt to corral inflation and get it back down to normalized levels, and hopefully without throwing us into a recession. And that's kind of what the markets, which is what we specialize in, what the markets have been experiencing with the volatility. But since you've got into real estate, how would you say the real estate has evolved the last few years?
Well, when I first entered it, it was a madhouse. And I remember my broker, who was also my realtor 12 years ago, said, this is not normal. this, because you would have open houses with just 20 offers on one property, especially the lower priced. And so it was just really fast moving and overwhelming. And since then, just within the past year, it's not a recession in real estate because the prices are everything that I've researched. Home ownership is still a really, really good investment because the appreciation value is still there. It's a correction in the market, which my broker in our last sales meeting gave us the statistic that in the last year, so of the NAR, National Association of Realtors, there's 1.6 million, the highest registered realtors ever.
Wow.
And of those 1.6 realtors, 1.3 had three or less transactions within the last 12 months.
So certainly part-time for most, for by far and away the majority of people.
Yes.
So there are very few, percentage-wise, real professionals like yourself that are full-time in the business, working the business, and well, I'm going to go back a half a step, because one thing you've done for us in some of our real estate is you have helped give a really honest, professional eye to what you see, what we need to do to maximize. And then the last home I bought, you actually had the ability, somehow or another, I don't know how you did it, because it wasn't even in your main market, but you found out that this home that was actually perfect, because you've been showing me other homes in that market, but you found out it was coming on the market the next 24 hours, and you were able, and they were only going to show it from Friday morning at 9 till that same Saturday at 4, and you got us in the list, made them expand the list, and got us into the list, and we ended up, I say winning, but purchasing that home.
Right.
So that was you. I don't know, how did you do that? How did you know ahead of time that was coming to market?
Networking. So I had a lot of people. I have friends in the Overland Park area.
Okay.
And just looking at the MLS and seeing pre-MLS that the consumer at that time wouldn't have visibility to. But I know, if I remember, we both were very busy. We couldn't look on it on Friday, so we got in first thing Saturday morning, made the offer. We won because it was a very strong offer, and it's all about telling it was a perfect fit from the seller's point of view to sell it to you. And it was just, when it's right, it's right. And I always tell my clients, if it doesn't work out, things have a way. You could just have a heartbreak when you lose a house, but there's a reason why. So it's funny how things happen.
Do you think, given the what I mentioned about the markets right now and the economy and the rates, do you feel like it's a good time to buy a home right now, or what are your feelings?
I think it's probably a better time to buy now than the last year, just because houses are sitting just a little bit longer, and it's not just a mad rush.
Right.
A lot of first-time home buyers, just with the rate increases, what they probably could afford last year, let's just round it up and say $400,000, now are probably capping at about a $300,000 or even $290,000 just with the rates increase. Just
because their financial ability to make that payment, and the interest rates have raised that payment that far.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy. Gosh, almost 25% less buying power from what you could have done a year ago.
So the average house price a year ago, on average, was $1,900. Was $1,200, and then now the average house price is $1,900. That's gone up nearly 54% from a year ago. Average house mortgage payment.
$700 average more, and a lot of people are making more money right now because the labor market's very tight.
Right.
But still, that's a ton of inflation.
We're paying more at the pump, more at the grocery stores. So it has to balance out, and I wish I had that crystal ball. But consistency. The turtle won the race. So just consistency. Really focus on the basics. My three go-tos are phone calls, handwritten notes, and pop-bys. So I always bring by, I think you have been a recipient
Popeyes,
of
not Popeyes
yes,
chicken,
not
right?
Popeyes, but Popeye gifts.
Yeah, no, you
like
do a
little-
great job of really saying if somebody's a client of yours, whether they've been a client in the past or somebody you're working with currently, you always invite them to different value add type events
Right.
and things like that. And so I think that's very enlightening as well. What do you think is going to happen in the housing market in 2023? Going forward, what do you expect?
Well, we have seen in the past a lot of people moving to the Midwest
Mhm.
because the cost of living is
Right.
more
Yeah, you
reasonable.
said you got some people in California
Mhm.
moving in and other parts of the
Yes.
country.
And like in California specifically, the taxes have gone up so
Mhm.
much. So just and in the Midwest, we have good schools. You can buy more house for the dollar.
Right.
So we're seeing a lot of cash transactions.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what makes this market a little bit different than 2008, 2009.
Right.
And another fun statistic was in the past few weeks, the number one
Right.
what was Googled is when is the house market going to crash?
Yeah. Right.
And in 2008, 2009, we had a lot of risky, like 5-in-1 arms, different
A lot
mechanics.
of different product out
Yes.
there that signature loans.
Yes.
People were just going crazy.
Yes.
there was a bubble. I mean, they were buying
Interest
homes they
rate.
couldn't afford the payments for anyway. The idea of flipping it,
Right.
and that of course led to, or was a key part of the overall global credit
Yes.
meltdown.
Yeah.
And massive defaults and repossessions and the whole 9 yards.
Yes.
It was terrible. But yeah, you're right. It's not that way now.
Well, because people are bringing more cash, and
Right.
they're very conservative loans,
Mhm.
highly backed,
Right.
like conventional lones,
Yeah,
and
it's
they're
real standards in
real
place now,
standards.
whereas Wild West in 2008, 2009.
right,
Right. So that should make a big difference.
right.
My feeling is the Federal Reserve will probably raise rates 2, maybe 3 more times. We are seeing inflation improve slowly. But I think we're going to see rates go up higher for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wouldn't be surprised to see, hopefully in the first quarter, second quarter next year, those rates, start to kind of work back down again
Mm-hmm.
without us going too far the other way into a recession. So we'll see, right? We'll see what happens. But you can always refinance your home if you buy a home now. Julie, any last thoughts that you'd like to comment on?
No, I'm happy to anytime that you would like to see the appreciation in your house, because if you've bought or sold within the past 5 years, you will have huge amounts of appreciation. So
Right.
I do that complimentary. But I'm happy to help anybody. My tagline is hustle with heart. And so I'm just always happy to help and be a resource for
Mhm.
anything that anybody needs. So
Super.
and if you know anybody looking to buy or sell, I am happy to help.
Great. Thanks for joining us today. We appreciate it.